Welcome to Pegwarmers. I'm Kevin.
I'm Tony from Hack the Movies.
We're here to talk about Superman toys.
Yeah!
Tony, they're going to try it again.
They're gonna try it again. James Gunn is gonna do it. I guess he'll have some better luck. Apparently the new live-action TV show was good from what I heard. I had stopped watching those shows before it aired. I didn't realize it was actually disconnected from them because it was a lot of the same actors. Apparently it's in its own universe. But apparently that was good. I like James Gunn. Not like a mega James Gunn fan, but
he does good stuff for the most part.
I like James Gunn. The Guardians of the Galaxy was fine.
I think my one thing that worries me is I felt like last time the DCEU rushed to build a universe to compete with Marvel.
Yeah.
And it certainly feels like they're doing that even more with this. The number of characters in this movie is insane.
Yeah, but I mean, it depends on just like, I'm fine with having a lot of characters as long as your focus is on like a few. Like you can have background. I read comics where random characters.
You can have a lot of characters.
That's the thing. I feel like people in our generation, we're still stuck in the 90s where if a Batman came out, it was all about the villains.
Yeah.
And then they started putting too many villains. Oh, God. People forget Batman Begins technically had like 5 villains.
Yeah, there were a lot of characters in that
one. But
it
only really focused on the 2, so it didn't feel bloated.
And it only really had one hero, though. That's the thing. Is this movie is like lots of good guys and lots of bad guys.
Yeah, but I feel like they're going to pop in and out. Hopefully. And I know the stories that they're basing it off of, like Maxwell Lord, and he turns out to be an asshole, but I don't know if they're going to go that route. Yeah, so I'm excited for this. I like how it's a little embracing some of the cheesier sides of Superman, which the Marvel movies have done.
Yep.
Before they got really bad. But
I'm also glad they're trying to do something different than like God Mode Superman.
Yeah, I like that he's not as all-powerful. He's just another superhero, really. And again, like, we'll look at some of these toys. They're embracing the more cartoony stuff, which I think is a relief after the last version of Superman we got on the big screen.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
So I've got quite an array here of Superman toys. Yeah. Some pretty old, some brand new. I guess I'll start, though, with my first Superman figure.
Okay.
Which is from Kenner's Superpowers toy line, which was one of the first really expansive superhero lines.
And I'm looking at that body, and I'm seeing the Batman body.
Yep.
Which we did that episode. I'm like, there it is.
We did. So this Superman was sort of released twice, because there was the original Kenner version, and then Toy Biz made an almost exact copy to it during the Batman, when the Batman 89 came out. That was the version with the kryptonite ring that would make it fall over. But they look very similar. But this Superman I got when I was a kid in the early 80s, and this is the actual one that I still have.
Oh, nice.
He's a little bit beat up, but
it's like my Batmans. They're all a little beat up.
Loved like watching Christopher Reeve and then playing with this toy. You know, it was pretty magical.
Yeah.
Because it looks enough like him.
I'm shocked you still have the cape. A lot of my Batmans lost their capes.
I don't know if this is the original cape, but it's definitely got the S worn off of it.
Yeah.
But, love that Superman, and wish they would have made a General Zod back in the day for him.
Yeah. That's weird that they didn't.
Mattel eventually made a Zod figure.
That's like a newer one, though,
but it's
right?
a newer one. It's not even quite the right scale. But I was still excited that somebody made. They only did one of these guys, but I was excited to get a movie accurate.
And it's it's the one everyone likes. Right. By the way, when we did Superman 2, I should also plug real quick.
Yeah.
I have at this point reviewed all the solo Superman movies. So all the Christopher Reeve. We did the Man of Steel. Actually, I meant to do the black and white ones. I was going to do a live episode. Maybe I could still squeeze one out before. So maybe at some point I'll do the live ones. But I also did like Superman Returns. But yeah, the Terrence Stamp Zod is the Zod that you know. I went back and looked at the original comic Zod. Do you know what he looks like?
I don't.
He looks like Bizarro.
Okay.
A little bit. His skin is like Bizarro. He's wearing kind of like a blazer and then just like, bikini bottom tights and just pants. He looks like Robin below and like military guy up top. And I'm just like, I can see why they went with the black disco suit for those movies.
Yeah. All right.
And I think he was more robotic a little bit. It was very different. They just took the idea of a Kryptonian general, that movie.
Well, they
did their own thing, and every single version
a unique look for that movie.
Yeah. But yeah, love Zod. Love that specific Zod.
The next one I want to jump to just because this is another figure that like was a missed opportunity back in the day because they didn't really merchandise Christopher Reeve's movies. This is from Superman Returns, but it's Marlon Brando hologram.
Oh, the hologram.
I got him for like $1 on clearance at Toys R Us back in the day. And it's actually the Superman body. Yeah. Like under a cloth, like a plastic robe.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't know they made a Marlon Brando figure. I knew they made like expensive ones. I didn't know they made one for Superman Returns.
Cheap action figure, but it's the exact same body as the Superman from that one.
And there you can show off the Brandon Routh Superman there.
Brandon Routh, super buff. This movie had probably... Other than maybe the current movie, the most extensive toy line. Like they got a lot of stuff
I didn't get like the toys, but I got like for props, I got the chains that broke in half. And I got like Party City was my first job ever. And we got a lot of Superman Returns stuff in. And I remember we had like the crowbar that would bend and make sound. So like prop wise, that movie was a blessing. I used those chains and like everything. But yeah, I don't know why they went so dark on the red on that suit. He looks like the evil Superman from Superman 3.
I assume they just felt like they had to ground it a little bit, like considering like X-Men and even like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is just toned down just a degree, you know? So I assume that's what they were thinking.
But it's weird because then like the marketing brightened him a little bit. It was very like all over the place there.
That's true.
But yeah, if I was a little kid, I wouldn't play. I would assume he's the bad guy if you put him with other Supermans. Maybe that's because I've seen Superman 3. But anyway.
That could be.
Yeah.
This is the modern superpowers Superman from the first wave. Okay. So McFarland right now is doing superpowers toys. They're actually running out of their license. Like McFarland had it for a couple years. It's gone back to Mattel doing DC toys.
Oh, okay.
But McFarland
Are they still going to do that multiverse thing? The DC.
I don't know if they're bringing that back or what they're going to do.
Okay.
They haven't really released much because they're kind of letting McFarland finish his 2025. Yeah. So this Superpowers line does not have the action features, but the packaging and the toys kind of are reminiscent of that.
Okay.
So I had to grab him to check him out. The capes were way inferior. It's like a vinyl-y kind of, I don't know, gross. They did kind of improve them later, but they weren't great. I don't know. There's so many guys here.
Yeah, just
the 90s Superman
from the animated
series. So this is the Clark Kent
figure. I love that show.
It was really good.
Yeah.
And this is the transforming
one.
I don't have all the parts to him. He should have like pant legs, and then there's a backpack to put the cape inside. But this Clark Kent whole top comes off.
Oh wow!
And the head is like those drop head turtles. But that's a pretty decent Superman.
Him with like the Superman suit peeking out. Did you ever see years ago when The Rock first hosted Saturday Night Live? He did a Superman skit.
Okay.
The skit was basically that Clark is very obviously Superman. So it's The Rock all muscly, and underneath his suit, you see the Superman suit poking out. He does a bad job of hiding that he's Superman. That's what that looks like with the suit and like the Superman peeking out.
This is a NECA Superman that is actually Christopher Reeve.
I was going to say, that looks
super
spot
accurate. I like how this figure isn't overly articulated. Like, he does have standard joints at like the wrists and the elbows and things, but they tried not to break it up too much. Like, he doesn't have like an ab cut and stuff like that. But that's just a phenomenal looking
His
Superman.
arms look a little long.
Yeah.
But other than that,
I'm sure if I got him in just the right pose, it would look good, but... I just really like that it's actually Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
And the cape's got a really nice like weight to it for kind of, posing around. It lays nice.
Screen accurate. It looks like what he wore in those movies. There wasn't a lot of variety between the Superman suits, so they look pretty much the same, other than the evil Superman suit.
Right. Let's see. This is the large scale McFarland Superman. So from a few years ago when McFarland started the superpowers. And I don't even know what they call it, multiverse or whatever.
I know he does something called DC Multiverse.
Okay, that's what it is. This was the Superman from that first wave.
Okay.
They put out this Superman and animated series Batman in that first wave. And like Harley Quinn. Like,
that's a weird pairing, but...
just giant sellers, But just to kind of kick off the line, get people excited that they were going to do multiple, styles within it, I guess. But that was the Superman from that line. I thought it was pretty good. He's got kind of like a metallic...
I like that.
I
like that shiny, yes.
Shines nice. But he's got the molded plastic cape.
Yeah. A lot of the Spawn figures have that.
Yeah,
That's like
I mean,
classic McFarlane, really.
It's nice for certain things. It's hard
Yeah.
with the Superman, though, because you kind of want him to be able to stand or fly, and the molded capes don't quite always work for that. Like, it looks one way or the other, sort of.
Yeah. I like the Funko Pop there.
Yeah, there's a Funko Pop.
Did you
Superman.
get that from the DC Collector's Box?
Yes.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I think this
There you
keychain,
go.
because we used to open those at the office,
Yep.
and I think this keychain came from that.
The funniest thing about those DC boxes is that I would open them and review them.
Yeah.
And then put the stuff back in the box, and Tony would open them and review them.
As a different character.
And Justin would always comment about how, like, stuff had already been ripped open or whatever. Like if we had to open a blind bag, be like, hey, this is already open or whatever, you know.
And then everyone at the office would just pick and choose what they like.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I had the Funko Superman shirt.
Okay.
And at one point we got the Crypto the Superdog one.
Yeah.
And it was funny, like that was years ago now. I went over my sister's like a few months ago because I gave that to her, and she's still rocking the freaking Crypto the Superdog shirt. I'm like, you still have that shirt? She's like, I love this shirt.
I think this actually came out of that box too. This is a
they were putting a lot of those types of figures
reaction style first appearance Superman.
Yeah.
So this has got the funny S shield. It looks like a police badge. It's a little bit warped, the card back, but I kept it packaged just because it helps tells the story that, oh, it's the first appearance Superman, you know. Otherwise, he kind of just blends in with everybody else on the shelf. Yeah, a lot of good ones here.
Is that the first New 52 Superman?
This one down here?
Yeah.
This one is a 5 below. I actually rated my stepsons. I asked my stepsons, how many Supermen do you guys have?
Yeah.
And this was like a 5 below Superman one of them got for their birthday. He's definitely a New 52 costume.
Yeah.
He's got really beefy legs and like...
Not the collar, though.
All he does is...
The collar's newer, but yeah.
It's weird, too, because the cape is like just sort of inserted into the center of it.
That looks bizarre.
So they had this Superman. They had Imagine X Superman, which this is probably the one they play with the most. They love Imagine X because this little line has so many characters.
Yeah.
That, like, you get multi-packs with
that
tons of villains and stuff.
Yeah.
It's funny how sometimes they'll like pick a bad guy they think is really cool and decide he's a hero or decide he's the most powerful. Like Black Manta can beat everyone when they play because he's got this cool helmet and they're just like, yeah, he's really tough.
Black Manta's pretty cool, all right?
He's absolutely the most powerful superhero in their collection.
Look, I know Aquaman 2 wasn't great, but I like that Black Manta was the bad guy in it.
And then this guy's also from their collection.
Yeah.
And we played with these large-size superheroes a lot when they were real little.
Yeah.
You know, big bash them, smash them together kind of guys. This one I thought was pretty good. Lots of detail. Nice sculpting, decent paintwork. Some of the Marvel ones really skimp on details.
The Marvel ones don't move at all. They're just like this.
Yeah, they have way less articulation.
Although I have some DC ones that are like that too.
Yeah. It depends on like what era they come from or whatever, but I always thought this one was pretty good.
It's funny, we were talking about 12-inch figures. I was looking at the Batman Begins figure over there. The cool thing was that I think the same people did Batman Begins and Superman Returns, so they were in scale with each other.
And that's nice when
I remember I had
the
the Batman one. Someone gifted me that, but I remember going to a kid's house and you had the Superman and Batman one. I'm like, oh, that's cool. They're like in the same scale, so you could play with them together.
Yeah, and that's kind of the same thing with the. There's another figure from the Batman cartoon.
Yeah,
you know, it was nice having your animated series Batman toys, your Superman animated series, and then this one's from Justice League.
Yeah,
you know, all working together. So if you happen to be a kid during any part of that run, all the stuff worked together. Which was kind of cool. This guy was from I think Infinity, not Infinity. Crisis,
Infinite Crisis, or Crisis on Infinite Earths.
All the packages looked like a hand grabbing the toys.
Oh, cool!
And they made a ton of characters for it. And so this was the Superman from that. I have this version and a battle damaged one that came with a Doomsday figure.
Nice.
And actually, I have a button here from the Death of Superman.
Oh,
these were given out at Comic-Cons around that time. It's funny because it's not like a pin back. You like fold the tab over and just clip it to your collar, but
it's very morbid.
The memorial for Superman.
Actually, at the time of this, I think I saw on Twitter they're making a line of the Reign of the Supermen.
Oh, okay.
So it's the four Supermen and then Superman in the black suit, and I think regular Superman. So I'm like, oh, that's cool.
That's a good line.
Yeah, I mean, people our age love that shit.
Yeah, that was huge when that came out.
And also, I speaking of solo Superman movies, I forgot I also reviewed Steel, starring Shaquille O'Neal. And the whole debate was, should this count as a Superman movie? It is based off a Superman character.
I mean,
but watch the episode and we'll find out what we landed on.
It's in that wheelhouse. This is a Mattel Superman. This was supposedly their tribute to the Superpowers figure
okay.
or Super Friends.
I was going to say that cape is awkward, but if it's a tribute, that makes sense.
That's why they did the same kind of collar there.
Yeah.
This was sort of a tribute to Superpowers. That tends to happen a lot where, like McFarland, like Mattel, anytime somebody gets that DC license, they know there's a ton of nostalgia beyond just the character, but with that particular line, which was one of the first, true superhero toy lines besides like the Mego dolls from the 70s. So they did that version. I also have a carded one up here that's in like tribute packaging.
Nice.
This one, it has a different head.
I
So
like
I think
that.
this was the official Superpowers one, and this was the like Super Friends version, but it's very similar. But this was like a line. It was cool. They recreated the card back with figures from this toy line for it. So they were pretty proud when they finished all of those characters.
That's awesome.
That way.
I see you got a Superboy there.
I do. Superboy, I guess, is Superboy Prime.
No, that's the bad one. Superboy Prime is the bad one.
Superboy Prime is the bad one.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's just Superboy.
Connor Kent or whatever.
Connor Kent, which I like. Not the original like old Superboy, but this particular character, I like this fursuit, the jumpsuit with the leather jacket, and the weird Prince glasses. He's like, "Don't call me Superboy. I'm the Metropolis Kid." Oh,
yeah. I thought this look was kind of interesting. It's such a funny thing for a superhero to wear jeans and a t-shirt.
Yeah,
but
well, he had a whole identity crisis too because he found out he's like part Luthor, part Superman.
Yeah, they actually do a lot of story with him in the Young Justice show. I don't know if you ever saw that cartoon show.
Yes. I never finished it. Like I remember they brought it back, and I never
saw the season.
And apparently it ended on another cliffhanger. But they also do him in the Titans live action show.
Oh, okay.
He's a big cat, and Crypto's also in that.
Nice.
He's an experiment in that. Crypto.
Okay.
He's not from space.
Oh, okay.
It's the biggest question I have about the new one, but we'll get to him.
Maybe makes sense. And then this last guy on the counter here. This is the Dark Knight Returns. Superman, so he's extra bulky.
I see it now. That's the very Frank Miller.
Everybody kind of thought they were using He-Man parts from the 2008 He-Man line because it's got the extra wide chest, but it is all new parts. But this one is based on Frank Miller's artwork.
Yeah.
So,
that makes sense.
Those are like sort of the collection I had before the movie came out. You've got some stuff here.
Yeah,
too,
let me show you some
off.
stuff I have here. So this is a Power Girl, which let me see here. Does it say it's a Mattel? I don't know what's the year. Hold on. I feel awkward just
she's
staring
part
at
of the
her,
DC Universe line, same as the Superpower Superman and the
Okay, I was trying to look for a year. Someone gifted me to the fan sent this to me. I like Power Girl, so she's like a Supergirl. Like when Crisis on Infinite Earths happened and a new universe, she was like. She apparently fell through the cracks and was reborn in our universe. That's why she feels like she's like, I am a Kryptonian, but not from this universe. I feel very different.
Yeah.
I think they're drawing her very differently these days. She's very iconic for a certain detail on her costume. Oh God. And as I say that, I knock over General Zod. Now this is a very special General Zod.
Okay.
He has a little base here. He comes from a very specific comic storyline. Hold on, let me put here. I was going to collect all of them, and then I got General Zod, and then I went, these are expensive. I'm like, I just kind of just wanted Zod. Oh, God. He's not the best at standing. But yes, so Richard Donner.
Oh, yeah.
When Superman Returns was coming out,
right,
they were promoting a lot of his old stuff because it was very connected. They finally released the Donner cut of Superman 2. And he wrote a storyline in the comics.
Okay.
He came back to write a story where Superman finds a little boy who has superpowers. And he debates if he wants to train him and stuff. And you find out that it's actually General Zod's son.
Whoa.
And Zod, Ursa, see, that's the exact image right there. Zod, Ursa, and Nan are in it. I love it in this version. He gave them bigger backstories. In this version, there's a reason Nan is a brain dead guy. It's because he was very smart, and the Kryptonian Council lobotomized him for speaking up too much.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a really good storyline. It took a while to finish. There was a big break, and it got awkward. There was a big break in the story, and then it took a year for them to finish it. But then it was just So Superman just has a kid sometimes. There was like, so that was in the Action Comics. In Superman, they did a storyline where him and this kid hang out with Batman and stuff. And then they finished the storyline. When you read it, you're like, there was no time for him to do that adventure with Batman. It made no sense.
That stuff is really hard to orchestrate. Like,
Yeah.
the fact that to go to Marvel real quick, but like the fact that Spider-Man gets his black costume during Secret Wars,
Yeah.
and then wears it in all the issues of Spider-Man after that, and you don't really know what's happened, how he got it, anything really about it until Secret Wars wraps up.
Yeah.
And he gets returned to New York, and it's like, oh, that's the jumping back to this spot. It's
That's
like,
awkward in comics where they're like, this will get explained later.
Yeah.
What was one, speaking of Marvel, I remember Ultimate Hulk versus Ultimate Wolverine.
Okay.
The first like 2 issues came out in 2006 where he rips Wolverine in half.
Right.
And then they didn't start printing it again until like 2009. You had to wait years and be like, why the hell this? And then I read the story. I'm like, wasn't even that good. Why did it take so long? But the interesting thing about this comic line, which I totally forgot until I was getting ready for this episode, as you see, they gave the evil Kryptonians goggles.
Right.
They released an issue of the comic that was 3D.
That's probably why it took so long. Like,
Maybe. Where they take their son into the Phantom Zone. So yeah, it was a 3D comic. And the fun part with this is that they gave you 3D glasses to read it with. And
your own Kryptonian goggles.
here we go. Phantom Zone vision. You got some Kryptonian language there. So there we go. Do I look like comic General Zod?
Just like him.
And it's funny. They have the little thing that you punched it out of says, what does it say? Well, it has a picture of a guy with the goggles.
Okay.
And then it
In
says,
case you're not sure how to put them on.
yeah, warning, safety goggles must be worn while in the Phantom Zone, lest you risk madness. It's crucial you cut out your goggles out of the placard holder, as indicated by the dotted line, or they won't function properly. So yeah, it was a fun, like, I have a couple 3D comics. That was like a gimmick they do every once in a while. And oh my God.
Is it jumping off the page at you?
He's jumping off the page at me. Whoa. So that was like a fun little thing that they did to help promote the comic. Good storyline. The other thing I have here is this little plastic statue.
Okay.
This thing is the bane of my existence, okay? Whatever material they make it out of just attracts dust. And there's no way to clean it. I've tried alcohol, tried hot water, and look at him. He's still caked in dust, and he's very, very sticky.
Weird.
It's very annoying. But it was a statue they were putting out at the time with like the big deluxe version of Superman Returns.
Okay.
So it's him like pulling the shirt off.
You can
very
see
iconic.
a little bit of Brandon Ralph.
Very
likeness to it.
iconic. And then here, maybe you know what this Dark Side is from. This is an older one. This is Kenner. Does not have the year.
My guess, it's the line Total Justice. I'm not 100% sure, but they did do a line where the guys were pretty well detailed, but they usually had some sort of action feature and things like that.
And his thing is the claw.
The claw.
Who could forget Darkseid's famous weapon, the claw?
It was right after he got done with the ultra beams or whatever he usually uses,
the Omega beams.
The Omega beams, yeah. He switched over to the claw.
When the Omega beams fail, you go for the claw. I was this toy's been bad. This is like one of those things where like someone gives you someone else's toy collection as a kid.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, "Oh, that's Darkseid." I'm like, "What is this? I don't understand what this is."
And it's not removable, right? It's like sculpted on his arm.
Yeah, it's sculpted on his arm. You can't take it off. But this Darkseid here, I had in its case for a very long time until it fell off a wall too many times and opened up.
It's a heavy figure.
So for the last few years, this has only been out of the package for like 2 or 3 years now. But this is the Darkseid from Superman, Batman, Supergirl.
Yeah.
Which is famously the story where they reintroduced Supergirl back into the actual continuity. And she's actually his cousin again.
Right.
Because before that, there was that weird shape-shifting alien Supergirl, which was funny. People go back and read Death of Superman. There's a part where Darkseid punches Supergirl and her face is like liquid. And if you don't know the context, you're like, what happened to Supergirl? So I think after a while, they were like, all right, let's just do like real Supergirl and bring her back. This is based off the late Michael Turner's artwork, who I was a huge fan of. Trying to find a good like picture of Darkseid there. Yeah. He had very angular jaw lines and really sharp features. I always thought his artwork was cool, and I loved his dark side, so I wanted to get a figure of it.
A really cool battle in like a Smallville farm field.
Yes, in this,
I loved.
You've probably seen the animated version too, which was pretty accurate. So they did Superman Public Enemies and Supergirl, and both of those got animated movies.
I'm actually shocked I don't have the Public Enemies Superman. I feel like that
one's very popular.
McGinnis, the guy that does that art. I love his style, and I thought I had.
Yeah,
I might only have Power Girl from that, but I thought I had like Superman and Batman from that line.
And that's kind of all I really had. There's this thing that just comes with the Justice League set. Somehow ended up in my collection. And I still have my cutout of Brandon Routh from Superman Returns. I think that was for a video ad. It used to come with the backdrop, but that thing kept bending and breaking, so I tossed it. But those are all our old Superman figures. Should we talk about the new ones?
So the new movie, I was kind of surprised at how many scales they're doing to it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really sure. I mean, I could have read the Amazon listings better, and I probably should have. But I just kind of grabbed the stuff I thought was the most interesting, and then realized that this monster and the regular Superman I picked up are the same scale. But there are, I guess, 6-inch Superman scaled figures. Then there's the McFarland Superpowers line that has stuff based on the movie. And then there's those little guys. They're like 3-inch or 2.5-inch
which
figures.
is weird because, well, one, we have not seen... So I guess we'll just start with this one. Fortress of Solitude. I think that's also Fortress of Solitude. So Fortress of Solitude, it is an abominable snowman who looks like a Wampa. They went back to the crystal design.
Yep.
Which, I said in like, because I'm very critical of Man of Steel, but like one thing I don't mind is them having its own unique vision. Mm-hmm. I love the crystals. They're very specific to Christopher Reeve, but then I have to remember they're so popular that they have worked into the comics.
Yeah.
So it's one of those, like, I don't mind if you do crystals, but I won't be broken if you don't do it. So they're definitely going into crystal territory, but they're mixing it with other stuff too. It's not just 100% crystals. So yeah, we haven't seen what the Abominable Snowman looks like in the movie, but we have it here. It also comes with a Superman robot. Do they have names for the characters on here?
I don't know for sure.
Well, I know that's a Superman robot, Crypto, the super dog, Superman, and it's finally been revealed because everyone called it that this guy is Ultraman.
Right.
Now, I'm not sure what kind of Ultraman they're doing, because usually Ultraman is an evil Superman from another universe.
Right.
But now people are wondering, is it going to be like, you know how Bizarro is sometimes from Bizarro World?
Right.
But then sometimes he's a genetic like clone. So people think they're going to go that route, which apparently the show did. They did Bizarro and he turns into Doomsday.
It's probably less silly
to
go that way. Like Bizarro World is
I could see them doing
concept.
Bizarro World, but yeah. But yeah, we were talking about this beforehand. I'm like, this is really violent. You can pull all the Abominable Snowman's limbs off.
Yeah, it's pretty violent.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. The color changes with temperature. Did you see that?
No, I didn't notice that. Okay.
Apparently, if you hold on. Oh, it's behind the plastic. I can't do it.
Well, you can rip it out if you want. I'm gonna open it at some point.
Should we?
Just do it.
Let's try it. Sorry. Oh, wait, hold on. I don't have to rip it too much, actually.
So don't steal the arms at the store.
Okay.
Don't turn this into the LeBron James head scandal.
Oh, God.
Remember when everyone was stealing the LeBron heads? Don't steal the arm off the Superman
what was driving
monster.
me nuts? I tried to do an unboxing for the giant-sized Godzilla, and it didn't have the tail.
Yeah.
And I spent a half hour thinking I dropped the tail or something. I'm like, oh, no, some asshole just took it out. Okay, so this is saying on the back that with temperature, the blood will fade.
Okay.
Let's try it.
So if you warm it up.
Oh, my God, they're right.
That.
Some color-changing thing.
Wow. That's kind of cool. So the battle damage appears and disappears.
Yeah. Now, how long does it take to come back?
I bet if you just on it.
Well, no, I think hot temperature makes it go away.
So it's got to go in the cold. You got to put it in the freezer or something.
Yeah.
To make the
or just
battle
leave it. I'm
damage
sure it'll come back. But this looks like a fun set. They're very small. He's very big. You get the ice.
I definitely
crystal
wanted
background.
to get a crypto figure, so that was one of the things that drew me to that one.
Yeah.
And, it had like a nice variety of characters.
Yeah.
And then when I bought this one, I for some reason thought this was going to be the same scale as that one.
Which is weird because I've watched the trailers
The
and
monster's
that's
huge.
Yes, however, there was a toy thing that showed that there's a baby version, so maybe it gets bigger throughout the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I got the like single pack Superman.
Yeah.
Because I felt like we needed it if we were going to do a Superman episode.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize I was basically buying him twice.
Yeah, it really is.
When I bought these, because I thought this was a different scale.
Yeah.
Oh well. But my stepson and I were at Target recently, and there's also a like collector version of this from the McFarland Multiverse line. And my stepson was like, "Oh, I bet you got that one." And I was like, "No, I got this one." And he's like, "Oh my god," But this one's crazy because
it opens up.
It opens up. So when you punch its jaw somehow, it triggers the chest open, and you put slime in there.
Does it come with the slime?
I
or?
believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
It's slime included.
Oh, nice.
Down the bottom. So this one like just makes a giant mess.
Which I'm excited. By the way, I'm excited for that because Superman does beat up giant monsters.
Yeah.
That's what's funny. I went to see the Red's already back.
There you go.
I went to see Mission Impossible with my friend Angela. She's not really into superhero stuff, and they played the Superman trailer. And she's like, "I don't really like Superman because he's like so overpowered." And I'm like, that is a complaint that I hear from people
a lot
who don't read the comics. I'm like, no, Superman gets his ass kicked all the time. There's always an alien that's just as strong. There's magic. But to her credit, the movies rarely explore that, other than General Zod.
And especially the newest movies.
Yeah.
They played up the godlike
Yeah,
feature.
and it's just like only General Zod or the Doomsday can kill him, and then he's stronger than all those guys. So I can see how people who just see the movies feel that way. But this one, I like that it's in this bigger universe. There's monsters and stuff that can kick his ass. It's more fun.
Kind of like you were saying with the cameos and stuff. If it is sort of a montage of like Superman saving the day, you need a bunch of different things for him to do, like saving the little girl, like beating up a monster, like fight,
And I do like in the trailer, he's in a cell with Metamorpho.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, how are they going to keep him in the cell? And then, because Metamorpho can change, like, his anatomy. If you look, he's making kryptonite to make sure he stays in the cell.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, that's cool. That was, like, a fun way to do that.
Yeah.
Kryptonite is annoying because the movies overdo it, but there's fun ways you could do it.
Because there's constantly someone finding kryptonite.
Yeah, yeah. But, like, the cartoon he was fighting, there was that one episode where he fought, like, a lava monster for, like, a really long time.
And then the last one I got here, I have not found the Superman in this scale.
Ooh.
So like I said, this is the McFarland Superpowers line.
Yeah.
So it's between this Superman and that Superman. So sort of like 4 or 5 inch. And it is like the inside of the fortress. So it's got the computer.
And he's got the big magnifying glasses. Did you see that scene? Oh, they released it a few months back. They showed just like a scene. It's when Crypto drags him back to the thing.
Oh, yeah.
And the robots put him in there. They have the sun blaring.
Oh, yes, I did see that.
Yeah, so those magnets, they magnify the sun. They make him heal faster. I thought that looked really cool.
Yeah, so this is kind of a fun little backdrop kind of thing. I don't know whether there was I kind of think maybe there was a Fortress of Solitude, like, proposed for this line back in the day. I'm not 100% sure. There was definitely, like, a Dark Side base that famously didn't get released. Where they kind of started to advertise it on the back package and stuff and didn't come out. But it is kind of fun when you get some of this stuff, like a toy line that's almost 40 years old. And it's like, oh, here's, like, that missing piece,
Yeah.
Superman never had a base. Or you get a couple other characters like that.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't do more Fortress of Solitudes.
I guess just because Superman doesn't have the crime fighting computer type stuff typical of like the back.
I mean, he kind of does if you read it.
But like it's just kind of different.
Well, I guess if people
literally the Fortress of Solitude, no one else should be there.
I guess if you're going by the movies, then it's just visually. I guess it wasn't appealing. It was just a bunch of crystals, which I like that this one's adding technology and stuff with the crystals.
Right.
But yeah, how do you feel about the new Superman suit?
I don't really mind it.
I don't mind it. I'm not a big fan of the collar.
Yeah.
But I guess they want to make it resemble the current Superman comic a little bit. But
and I think there just have been so many suits, and you can go a lot of different directions with it.
No.
But this is sort of kind of a nice balance, and I think by going with sort of the modern S, it gives it its own feel.
Well, that's the Kingdom Come S.
Right. But it's like not the classic one, or even just like a stylized, like the Man of Steel one is very like raised and stylized. This one has sort of that cloth look to it. Yeah,
I like that it's just like a suit. It looks like it gets damaged and everything.
Yeah, and I kind of like the idea of superhero suits not looking like rubber suits all the time.
Yeah, with the molded muscles.
Yeah,
you don't always need the molded
go
muscles.
that way. Right.
Yeah, like the Henry Cavill one was like, okay.
It just doesn't. You can't believe that unless the ship made it.
Yeah.
Where did he get that?
Well, the
from?
ship did make it in that
right,
one.
But I mean, like, I like the more grounded, like, Ma Kent made it, from his blanket, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or just like if he ever changes costumes, it's like, where did he get this one from? Did he go back to the ship? Is the ship
which something I like about the animated series, because he was depowered a little bit. He did have different suit, like he couldn't breathe in space in that cartoon,
right.
so he had to wear something. But no, I like it. It's really just the collars throwing me off, but everything else is fine. I like that he has the red trunks.
I like the trunks.
I was talking about it, like the Superman costume without the red trunks, it just doesn't work for me. It's not broken up enough.
I think the trunks help break it up. I also think it gives you a reason to have the yellow belt, which looks nice.
Yeah.
Because there really is not a lot of yellow in the suit without it.
No, and I feel the same. By the way, I feel the same way about Batman. If you're doing classic gray suit Batman, you need the black shorts to break it up. It just looks like Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill. I'm like, this looks weird without it. It just looks
you just
weird.
look like a Ken doll.
Yeah, unless you're doing a completely like a armored suit, then you can get away with it. But yeah, but no, I like the suit. This toy line looks like a lot of fun. I would have had a great time with this. I never got to have a Wampa toy, so I would have had a great time with this.
I just think I'm so glad that they went all in on the fun with this toy line.
Yeah,
which they did, like I said, with Superman Returns, but that movie had less play value to it.
Yeah,
whereas this movie seems like it's going to have a lot of fun. I think, Guardians of the Galaxy was another example of a movie you could make a fun toy line based on.
Yeah.
And so,
which I guess they did. I assume they did.
I mean, maybe not to this extent, but, James Gunn just puts in a lot of fun visuals, fun moments. Yeah. And so it's really translating well to toys.
I like what he's done with DC so far. Like, I know the Suicide Squad is in the old continuity, which I think did you watch Peacemaker at all?
Just a little bit of it.
It's fun. It's fun. But he does have like a little base in a pocket universe, and I the new season's not out yet, but I think they're going to explain that there's like two Peacemakers because he got left over from the old. I think they're going to say that the Flash reset the universe and Peacemaker got like lost in the fold.
Makes sense.
Which is funny because there was a character in the comics, Crisis on Infinite Earths, afterwards. There's a really minor character that really means nothing called Psycho Pirate.
Right. I like Psycho Pirate.
Yeah, and then for whatever reason, they decided that he's the only character who remembers the previous universe, which is why he's even crazier now. Because he's just like, no, I remember all that stuff, and everyone's acting like it never happened, and I remember it. So it's gonna be funny if Peacemaker's like that. If he enters a new universe and kills it, it's like, okay, some things are the same. But yeah, Peacemaker's really good, and Creature Commandos was a lot of fun.
Okay, I haven't seen that either.
Yeah. So like I see the tone he's going for, and he can be, especially Creature Commandos, he can be wacky and silly and serious. But Creature Commandos don't watch that with the kids. It goes all over the place.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited for this Superman because I want to test the waters with my stepsons with a superhero movie.
Yeah.
And the Marvel stuff, it's just been there's so many of them.
Yeah.
To like jump into that series now, I'm worried is like they'll just be lost.
Yeah, just show them the old ones.
Yeah, I mean, and that is one of my thoughts.
Show them till Endgame, and then maybe a few Spider-Mans, and then ask if they want to continue.
It was probably like a year ago, though. We were at a restaurant waiting to be seated, and the little one was like melting down, standing there. So I picked him up, and he could see the TV in the bar at the restaurant. And it was like right at the key moment of Avengers when they're all together.
Oh.
And he just goes, "They're real?" Because it was the first time he'd ever seen a clip from the movies. And I was like, you got it, buddy. And he was just like, whoa.
It's funny. I'm having this. So the twins, they want to watch Batman because they know I like it.
Right.
I showed them the Super Pets movie, and they thought it was okay. Because I thought that was a good place to start because it has animals. But they weren't really into the Super Pets that much.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, now we can show you some Batman stuff. I show them the toys down here. I did a review on my channel, the Batman Begins video game.
Okay.
To be a comparison to the Batman Begins episode I did.
I watched that.
Yes. That was a good one. Do you want me to turn the smoke machine on? No, so I was recording the gameplay of the Batman Begins game, and they came down while I was recording it, and we got to the part in the game where Batman rips the Scarecrow's mask off.
Okay.
And then for whatever reason, that's Batman to them now. It's Batman rips that specific guy's mask off. So they'll be like, Batman, take his mask off. And I'm at their house. I'm like, okay, well, I have a cartoon where he fights the Scarecrow, and they're just like, they're watching. They're like, So
I was going to say, I would start him on animated series.
I might go for a more child-friendly one. Well, I don't know anymore. They're all over the place because I'm their uncle. So I put on straight up Batman Begins. I skipped all the Batman parts, obviously. Yeah. And we got to the part where they ripped the Scarecrow's mask off, and they loved it. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, so I tried more animated series, not into it. And then today I just was like, what's a good middle ground? I'm like, Michael Keaton Batman, here you go. And they ended up enjoying most of it. But I'm like, why can't I get you girls to like the kid-friendly cartoon ones? Why do you like this one?
Yeah, especially because the cartoons should be more able to keep a kid's attention. There's a lot of like exposition in a full-length movie.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know what their deal is. But yeah, according to them, Batman is a PlayStation 2 game, but just the part, the cutscene where Batman takes off the Scarecrow's mask. That's Batman. And now they want to watch more Batman. I'm like, well, it only ever happens that like one. I guess he does it in the Dark Knight. I can put that on. So yeah, it's a struggle to show them Batman stuff. I'm hoping this is...
It's tricky to find that right entry point for kids.
I don't know if they're going to like this in the theater, but I'm going to watch it because they love giant monsters, and this is a good superhero and giant monster. This is a good one. And a dog.
And a dog.
But yeah, this was a lot of fun. I had a super time.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for coming on or having me over so we could take a look at all these toys.
Yeah, it was a great time. I really want to see this Abominable Snowman. They haven't shown any of it in the previews yet.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty big spoiler to give away like a big set piece like that.
Yeah.
Unless it really is a minor moment.
Yeah.
Like I said, unless it's just part of some montage where he beats up, does some super things real quick.
I'm also wondering how much of the trailer is misleading because I saw Jurassic World Rebirth today, and they intentionally misled you with the trailer for some stuff.
That seems to be the way to go now. Like, Marvel has been intentionally doing that for a while, where they just re-edit, redo effects.
I mean, I like it if it's to conceal a secret. Yeah, that's fine.
I think it's a good idea, really, because the trailer's about the tone of the movie instead of giving away the movie. So, I don't mind it. All right, guys, in the comments down below, let us know if you're a Superman fan. You going to see the new movie?
Yeah, let us know. I'm going to review it, so...
Yeah, check out Tony's review when it comes out. Thanks for hanging on the peg with us.
Bye.